Hello, and welcome. Welcome to today's installment of Created for More the podcast. I have a fantastic guest. I know I always say that, but I really do today. And you will find out just how awesome she is as soon as she opens her mouth. Her name is Karika Yonreme, and she oversees the development and execution of entrepreneurship programs focused on ensuring inclusive growth for African entrepreneurs. She's responsible for driving Softcom's flagship business accelerator program called Lift, which is focused on delivering knowledge, coaching, technology tools, and funding to scale African businesses. I'm just going to fast forward to the thing that I absolutely adore about her. What she's going to be talking about today is networking, and I'm looking at it, looking for it actually on your bio, and I can't see it. What, girl? Where is your networking on your bio? Hey, Karika, welcome. You're going to have to speak to that as you introduce yourself. But welcome to Creative for More the podcast. It's an absolute joy to have you here today. Yay!
Hi, I'm super excited to be here. Super excited to be here. And I know we're going to have fun. So viewers or listeners, rather, get ready for
I
fun.
think it's both. It will be great. It will be great. You and I have been chatting just before we started recording, and I was just like, oh my God, you have such a vibe. I have to tell you that straight out the bat. You have such a
Oh,
vibe.
thank
There is just
you.
such a life that you carry that is just so beautiful to watch and just be part of. So I just want to thank you for just bringing your magic, your fire, your love, your energy, your warmth onto the show. It's great to have you. I was saying there, I was looking for network. I'm looking at your bio. First of all, I don't want to put words into your mouth. First of all, tell us who you are in your own words, and then
Okay.
tell us about your passion for, you know what?
Mhm.
Continue.
Okay. Thank you so much. So my name is Karika Yonreme, and I am a connector. I literally think that networking is the essence of life
Mm,
because my definition of networking, there are different levels to it. My definition of networking is the fact that networking is your everyday human interaction. There are over 7 billion people in this world. You're interacting every day. So you're literally
mm,
networking. Networking is the oxygen for, human engagement. So I love networking. I eat networking. I drink networking. I think networking. And it's become a lifestyle. So and maybe that's why, because it's like everything we do, there's a connection, is aided by human beings and human interactions. So yeah,
mm.
that's it for me in terms of networking.
First of all, I have never heard anyone introduce themselves as connectors. It's so unique. Like, how did you come about this? Like, how did you know networking was such a thing that you could even build a life around?
Hmm. So that's a very interesting question. I think that looking back now, number one, and nobody ever never believes it, I'm an introvert, but people are like,
Oh
oh
my
my goodness.
gosh. Oh my, here we go.
People never believe it, but I'm like, okay, that's okay. I think about, and for me, I always like to go back to the roots. When I think about how I started with networking, it was just this fascination with human beings. I always wondered, why do people act the way they do? Why are some people closer to others than the others, right? And I used to read a lot of books growing up. And I realized that I began to see patterns. For people to get deals, for people to get promoted, there was that element of human emotions involved in it, right? And I didn't know what networking was at the time, but it just fascinated me, right? And growing up, I started working in the workplace, and then I was moved to business development. And I realized that even though I was on the quiet side, I was able to connect with people deeply. I could connect with them. I understood. I could feel what they were feeling, right? And it
Mm,
helped me to seal deals. Like it wasn't. I didn't have to be everywhere. I could just have one conversation, and that conversation would lead to so many other conversations, right? And my colleagues were like, "Oh my goodness, Karika, you find it easy to connect with people. What is the strategy?" And I had to take several steps back, and I looked at my life and I was like, oh my goodness, all the things I read about, all the books I read sort of pointed towards networking, right? And I said I wanted so many people to understand the fact that to do big things in life, you need people, and you need to understand the art of people. And that's how I started teaching about networking. I took some courses, I talked to professors, I connected with them, people who were also interested in the human mind, human interaction, how people behave. I did a lot of research. I talked to a lot of professors. I've been in so many hubs and research hubs, right? And that's how it sort of came together to this whole networking thing I do. And it's lifelong. Everything we do. Remember our conversation, how we connected, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
really human beings help human beings to achieve their goals, to become the people they're supposed to be, and to fulfill their destiny. And for me, that's what networking is about. And that's why I want the whole world to jump on it. Because if you don't jump on networking, you're shortchanging yourself, you're self-sabotaging, and you would not really enjoy the fulfillment that life has to offer you.
Hmm. So I've heard mindset coach. I've heard visibility coach. I've heard this. I mean, how, when you decided to set up shop, that this is going to be your thing. You've talked about how someone, your colleagues identified that there was something different about the way you connected with people. When you decided to set up shop, I mean, how did you explain? Like, how were you able to? I know you've explained it to me here, but how were you able to convince people that, come, this is something that you should actually commit your time. Come with me. This is a thing that I can teach you, and there's a methodology behind it. How were you able to
Mhm.
even do that?
Okay, fantastic. So one of the things that I do as a person is I show, I don't tell, right? And that's also because
Mm.
it goes back to my understanding of the human mind. When you show people why, it makes it easy. So for work, when I was working, in my former job, I used to work around the world. So I was always moving around countries. And for every time so when I had R&R, that's rest and
Mm.
I think
Rest
recreation,
and
but holiday,
preparation.
yes,
Yeah.
I would go to a new country, solo travel. I do not know anybody there. And I used to show my journey on Instagram. I'll just show people how, oh, I just met this person, yada yada yada. We had a conversation and I met somebody, and people are just like, oh my goodness. And I just said, oh, I love networking. Networking is so powerful. So people began to get curious about it. Such that by the time I started to explain to them, they had already seen my life as an example. So it was an easier conversation to have than just coming and saying, oh, you need networking. And for everything that I did, for my goals, people that I reached out to, the goals I smashed, I always found a way to connect it back to networking. Like, oh my goodness, if I had not met this person at the airport and she connected me to this person, and she connected me to this person, I want to have achieved the goal. So people could see the logical pattern of how networking works and how it could be beneficial for them. But it's still a conversation that is ongoing because a lot of people understand what networking can do for them, but a lot of people are also they have this they've been
Consumer.
misinformed. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people think that networking is, oh, I go for an event, I wear my jacket, I exchange business cards. That's networking. So there's the
Mm.
first layer of, okay, helping people understand that networking is something they need. And then the second layer of helping people understand that, it's not just a transaction, it's a lifestyle. Everything you do is literally networking. So I think that, the more I show, and that's why I'm very active on my social media channels, it has forced me out of my introverted nature because I find that one of the best ways to help human beings understand things is to show them, not just telling them.
Mm. Mm. Wow. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love how you said that it's beyond just, the fact that you saw that it worked for you. You actually went to go and study the science behind it and understand it. So now on that basis, I want to ask you, is everybody a connector? Or are there people that have more of an affinity towards it? Can
Mm,
everybody, not is everybody, can everybody be a connector? Can
okay.
everybody be open to meeting? Because you find some people, you meet them, and then next thing they're carrying face, and then you're just like, hey,
Hmm.
what's up with you? Just chill.
Hmm.
That kind of thing. Does
Hmm.
everybody have it in them, or are some people wired in such a way that networking is actually difficult?
So I would say that, inherently everybody is a connector. Because as long as I tell people that there's nobody on this planet that does not have at least one friend, even if it's just one. The fact that you can connect with one person, shows that you have the ability to connect. But how much you're able to work that muscle is a different conversation. But at the very least, everybody is a connector because human beings are emotional beings. Human beings were not designed to stay alone. Nobody's an island, regardless of how much money you have or how introverted you are. You need at least one person in your life. Where would you buy food from? Won't you go to the
Mm,
market? Would you have conversations? So the fact that you can talk to people, because remember my definition, networking is your everyday human interaction. I'm not saying friendships, I'm not saying community, I'm not saying building a tribe. The fact that you interact with somebody, right, shows that you have the ability to connect. But how far you can connect and how far you can maximize it depends on how you're willing to work that muscle. So to answer
mm,
your question, inherently everybody's a connector. Everyone,
mm.
everybody is.
Hmm. So when you meet somebody for the first time, I would imagine that because I'm trying to like break it down for people so that they understand, right? You meet someone for the first time, um, particularly if it's in a setting that isn't a kind of networking session, particularly, they're coming to serve a function for you. Either maybe someone is, I don't know, you're in a new city, someone is driving you around, or you meet somebody at a restaurant. They're doing something, engaging with you somehow. Most times, and what I find, and even from personal experiences, is that people just want that thing that you are there to serve in that particular moment and don't think beyond that. They don't think, hey, how can I have you as part of my overall ecosystem?
Mhm,
How do you need to be thinking when you meet people, and how can you divorce yourself from that one track minded myopicness?
mhm,
This person,
mhm,
this is Karika. Karika is on my podcast to talk. That's it. I don't want to stray outside the
mhm,
lines. I don't want to speak to her before. I don't want to speak to her after. Let her just
mhm,
do what she's here to do and go. I want you to break it down so
mhm,
that people can start to see the different shades around how you can see
mhm,
beyond in normal everyday interactions. Sorry, I know that was a mouthful, but I
mhm.
hope you got what I was asking.
Okay. Yeah, I do. And it's a very powerful question and it's something that is very valid because people go through that. So the first thing I would say is everybody get over yourself.
Mm,
That's the first thing. And understand that everybody is valuable. When you understand that human beings are valuable, you understand that human beings are valuable and human beings are mobile. So the fact that somebody is this person today doesn't mean it cannot be something else tomorrow, right? So, and that's the
mm,
thing that guides me, right? Just understand that everybody is valuable and that people are beyond where I see them or
mm,
what they are doing. So, for example, I love networking, but guess what? I'm also a semi-professional dancer. You would
oh
never get to
wow.
know that about me if you do not interact because I do not lead with that part of me. So it's just that understanding that number one, you know, um, I see life as I'm an adventurous person. I just want to know more. Knowledge is something that fascinates me, right? So I had to just get out of that mindset of, oh, let me just do because I think that in a way we're trying to preserve our ego when we
Hmm.
when we think like that,
Speak to
right?
me, girl.
We're trying to preserve our ego, and that's why I said the first thing is just get over yourself and understand that see, life is for the living. You only live once. Try as much as possible. Look at the world as a hub. Try to soak in as much as you can, and that includes people. So that's the first thing. It's the mindset thing to get over. And then the next thing is understanding that human beings are valuable. People are extremely multifaceted. People have so many dimensions to them, and you will never really get the best out of them if you do not interact, right?
Mm,
I'm not saying come on strong. I'm not saying be aggressive in how you interact. Just ask questions. Be genuinely interested in people. Again, it also depends on the quality of life you want to live. I keep saying that, everybody is supposed to have a great life, but not everybody will because people limit themselves by not having conversations with people, right? How do you know that I love dancing and I have such a powerful affiliation to the dance world if you do not ask or if you do not have conversations with me,
mm,
right? So I keep saying that we limit ourselves when we don't ask questions. So in terms of and what you said is also valid. Okay, you go to a restaurant, the person serving you just wants to do what she needs to do, and even you yourself, you want to focus on what you want to do. To answer that question, one thing I lead with is the fact that human beings are emotional beings and everybody responds to love. So I'm not going to try to chat with maybe someone, a waiter or something, and say, oh, okay, because I want to network. I would just say something very kind, like, oh, it seems you're the expert here. Tell me, what should I pick on my menu? It's your approach, it's your tone. And
Mm.
you see that she'll say, oh, you know what? And let me tell you, every human being likes to feel important regardless of
Mm.
their place of service. So whether I'm talking to them, whether I'm talking to a CEO, I'm talking to a janitor, make that person feel special, make that person understand that this is your place of service for now and you own it, right? So for
Mm.
someone who is new, I'll say, oh, I'm new. And I do that. For example, I had something that happened in New York. I'm like, oh, I'm new in New York. I don't know the area. Tell me, what should I pick? And she's like, yo, pick this. These are special, da da da. And we just had fun, and that was it. And people also need to understand that not every connection is supposed to lead to something immediately. Sometimes you're just supposed to add life and light to the person's life. Like, and the way I call myself carry light, I call myself carry fire because I believe that my life is supposed to bring light onto others. So it doesn't matter if I never meet you again, but as long as you encountered Karika, you experience light, you experience life,
Mm.
right? So that's the essence of the networking. So it doesn't mean that, oh, everything has to lead to something or we need to talk after. Sometimes funny thing is that the people who you know you think might not be able to help you have really been the ones to help me. I've had janitors that have opened doors for me because they know when the CEO would be around and they would sort of give me ideas of what to work with, right? So they've come through for me in those ways, right? But they also would have just met, and they were just light to my lives. I was just light to their lives, and that's it. So I leave the world. I keep saying that when I want to die, when I die, I want to live knowing that my life brought light to people. That because people experience Karika, they experience light, and that is the real deep essence of networking. It's not just the transaction. The transactions are great. You make money off it, but how about you leaving a legacy? How about you living light? How about you knowing that I'm going to bed sleeping, knowing that I made one person happy, I made one person feel important, I made one person feel valued, I made one person feel seen, right? And you never know how it can transform the life of the other person because people are going through a lot. I've heard people say, oh, Karika, because you spoke to me, I was suicidal. But just you replying to my message on Instagram made me realize that somebody is looking out for me. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, and our lives are bigger than us. The life that we've been called to live are bigger than us. So again, just bringing it back and bringing it home to your question, is the fact that one, get over yourself. Your life is bigger than you, right? You're only a vessel, you're only a tool. So work in that understanding. The second thing is understand that human beings are valuable, right? And when you understand that human beings are valuable, you understand that people who can bring you value beyond their present seat of power or their present place of service. The third thing is understanding that you just never know. So
You
just be a
just never
good,
know.
decent person. You just never
Yeah.
know.
And you carry light. You carry light, and you're basically going to impact lives. I love every single thing that you've said, and it resonates so deeply. Myself and my husband, I have this running joke with him that every single place you go, you carry a crowd. I don't know how he does it. I am the one that is front facing in a way because I'm on the podcast and I'm more active socially, quote and unquote. But when it comes to real day, real life interactions, oh my god, when we go on holidays, from the person who opened the door of our taxi all the way to the person who cooked, he knows all of them on first name basis, all of our name, and it's like I see, like, how do you do this? And he said something that you have said today that I want to really highlight, and that's why I'm even bringing him into this. He says you have to be genuinely interested in people. You've got to ask questions, and that is it. That's the secret. It's not about what they want to do for you. It's just questions, asking them questions. So let's talk about some practical principles of
I like
connecting with people. Like,
it.
asking questions. What else can we do? How do we connect to people? And then I want you to also talk about sustaining relationships. We've talked about the one-offs, yes, but there are some relationships that you kind of have to nurture. You can't just, space out 2 years later and then, hey, how are you? What are some principles for nurturing relationships?
Okay, fantastic. Very, and I like what you said about your husband because it reminded me of a story that happened to me recently. So, quick story, and it sort of leads to networking. So, number one, there are practical steps to networking, but me, my life is governed by frequencies, by I do not just work on my own power, right? And it's something that I've seen that has really helped me in my own life. So that's the first basis, right? And I'm explaining this because it would lead to the story that I want to quickly say before answer the question. So sometime in January, my friend just had a baby, and I said I was going to see her. I've not seen her since September, and I got into my car and I was going to see her, right? And next thing, my car was over. No, I had the leading to just turn around and go, just go to the filling station. I'm like, this is weird because I'm almost at the house. Anyway, I turned back, and as I got to the filling station, my car overheated. So I just parked the car, and I said, you know what? Because that was strange. I just parked the car. And I said, you know what? Let me, because I said, should I fix it now? But I said, if I fix it now, I'm going to miss out because I already put it in my calendar. I was like, I would miss out on seeing her, and next time I'll see her will be April. So I just parked the car, and I took an Uber. I went to see her. On my way back, when I was about to leave her house, I was like, oh my goodness, I hope I find someone who can just follow me to the filling station to get the things. Because again, I have my first degree in engineering, so I sort of know how to fix things, and all of that. So I got into the car. The Uber I took going back, I got into the car, and the guy just had a very funny face. Like, I don't know, he looked like he couldn't even speak proper English. Because when I was talking to him, he wasn't really listening to me, or he wasn't hearing me. And I'm just like, okay. I wasn't going to cancel, but like, let's just go with him. So I went with him. When we got to the filling station, he was looking at me. And, I said, I opened my car. I was like, oh, can you wait with me? Because I didn't want to be alone. He was waiting with me. And I was just touching things. And he looked at me. And he started touching things. Normally, I looked at him. The way he was touching the things, it looked like he knew what he was doing. And, I was like, I now asked him that, no, he said, you need to bleed the car. And that's a language that only people who understand technical things know. Long story short, I found out that he had a technical training in cars, right? And he literally, because I was going to call, my driver to pick the car the next day, but he literally sorted me out that day, right? And it was just from asking him questions, I realized that, oh my goodness, he's deep in this, he really understands this, right? And he's become like, whenever I have issues with anything, running around the house, I just call him. It was from yes,
just an Uber driver.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Such a beautiful story.
So and that's why I keep saying, you never know how people can help you. You never know, because he saved me a lot of money that day, right? Because I would have had to pay people to watch over the car, or maybe get someone to tow. It would have been a lot and it was at night, right? So it just shows what your husband said about being genuinely interested in people. It's so true. It's so true. And it's worked for me one too many times. So to answer your question about, how do you build relationships? How do you...
Before you answer that question, there's just something that is so powerfully laid on my spirit that I feel I need to say now. It's that quote, that phrase that says, your network is your net worth. I wonder how many people don't actually know that they have more than they have. They have more, there's more worth to them because they haven't actually, if I use the word cash out, it sounds a bit, but in a sense, yes, but they haven't actually utilized the relationship and transferred it into worth, like tangible worth for them. I wonder how many people who are listening to this podcast now who are feeling like, I have nothing, but God is looking at them from heaven and saying, oh, really? Let's calculate. Let's calculate the worth that you have in
Mm,
the relationships that you haven't harvested,
mm,
that you haven't harnessed, that you haven't sustained, that you haven't done anything with because you don't
mm.
know that I have empowered you. I didn't give you physical wealth, but I gave you wealth in people. So I don't know what you
Fantastic.
have to say about that.
See, my first, for everybody that comes to my sessions, all of that, the first thing I tell them is you are the value. And it's not a tagline, it is spirit. You need to understand that you are valuable, that you carry the spirit of God, and that in itself makes you stand out. And that in itself makes you unique, right? And value is anything. For example, one thing that has differentiated me in my life is my energy, right? And the reason why people are not operating at the frequency they're supposed to operate at is because they've trivialized that value, or they're looking to the world to explain or to dictate what that value is for them. I keep saying that the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you are and where you water it. But you need to understand that you are the value. You need to understand that you carry fire. You need to understand that you carry the spirit of God. You need to understand that you carry value. To be, because even if I give you the president today, if you do not understand that you're valuable, you're going to self-sabotage that relationship. You're not going to maximize it because you keep playing small. You would not understand the power and the worth of what you have, who you are, what you carry, and what you can be connected to. So the very thing, the first thing and the principal thing is understanding that you are the value is so key, because it's the thing that every other thing is built on. I mean, number one, in networking, you're going to face rejection. But when you face rejection, when you understand that you have the value, you're like, well, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me at this point in time, because again, in networking there's something called times and seasons. Everybody is not meant for you at the same time and season, so you need to understand that and recognize that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is what you said about network. A lot of people, I keep saying this thing in Nigeria, we say what you're looking for in Sokoto is in
Shokoto
Sokoto.
is in your
A lot of
Shokoto.
times, like, people who come and meet me and say, Karika, I want to network, I'm like, the people in your circle, what have you done with them?
Mm,
How have you
mm,
leveraged that?
mm,
What have you done with those
mm,
relationships?
mm, mm,
You keep looking out. Oh, you see people that have established tribes or communities. You want to be a part of them. I said, I promise you, if I give you access to those people, you would not make the best use of it. Because guess what? How you do one thing is how you do everything. The people in your circle, what have you done with them? How have
mm.
you leveraged those relationships? And it's not even about just people, and that's why I said I understand that everybody is valuable, because you do not see that people are valuable. You in Nigeria we call it see finish. You treat
Mm.
people at the frequency in which you operate. You're just looking at them as mere mortals. I'm like, no, these people have spirit, these people have, like, these people can connect you with the things you need to do. The only thing is that you need to understand, recognize who you are. I keep telling myself that because I'm valuable, everybody that's connected to me, I don't care if you're a driver or you're a janitor, you have value. You
Mm.
have value, and I see you from that point of view. So I'm able to harness my network, because from the CEO to the person cleaning the floor, I can leverage those relationships to my advantage. And because I understand that people would go out of their way to do things for me without me even asking. So understand that you are the value is the first thing. It affects how you show up. It helps you to focus on your focus, because again, not everybody is meant for you per time and season. It helps you to also, um water your own grass.
Mm.
It helps you to water your own grass. It
Okay,
also helps
now.
you to own your narrative.
Mm.
Sometimes, wherever I go to, I'm the same person. I cannot try to be anybody else. But when you do not understand you are the value, you change with the wind. Oh, I'm talking to
Mm.
Tonbra, I'm going to start behaving like this because I'm trying to fit in. No, you're not going to be authentic. It
Mm.
also helps you to understand that there's something unique about you, and you maximize it to your advantage. Again, I keep saying that it's not about the product or the value people have, it's what is in your hands and what are you going to do with it. And that's a great way to connect with people. I keep telling people that, see, network from a place of strength. My place of strength is one, my energy. The second thing is I'm a very observant person, and that speaks to my introverted side. I can come to a place and I notice what everybody's wearing. I'm a great listener. I listen to things that you say and the things you do not say. So when I'm
Mm.
having conversations with you, I use that to my advantage. I do not like large groups. I'm not somebody who will go to a large group and talk. No. It's not my place of strength. You barely find me in very large crowds or parties. I do not enjoy them. So what I enjoy one-on-one conversations where I can talk deep, and in networking we call this building on the power of one. A lot of people in my life that have helped me to grow my relationship. Just one person. There's one person in my life that from her I've met 50 people. One person. So quality over quantity.
Hmm.
Quality over quantity. It's not by, oh, I talk to everybody. Okay, yes, but will these people vouch for you? Can they go out for you? Would they, when it comes to speaking up or saying your names in rooms where you're not there, would they speak for you? Because how deep is your relationship with these people? Be at peace with all men, and that's why I said that it also goes back to understanding that you are the value. Because there are people in my life that the Holy Spirit has told me, Karika, don't talk to them yet. Be friendly, be hello, hi. If I see them in on the road or on social media, I would say hello, hi to them. But there are times it's like, this person, I want you to go deep with the person, and he would, I would harness that relationship, and I understand why I needed to, do that at that time. But if you don't understand you are the value, because you do not even understand your self-worth, everybody that talks to you, anybody, you're running all over the place trying to build relationships that you've not been assigned to do. You get tired, you're burnt out.
Run kitty kitty, run kata kata.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that analogy. I love it so much. Run kitty kitty, exactly.
Oh my God, that is so powerful. Well, I love it. One statement that you said that just deserves like 40 mic drop, consecutive mic drop. Water your own grass, for goodness sake. Water your own grass. Don't go around thinking that it's greener somewhere else. Just sit down where you are and do what you need to do with what you have. Start where you are. I absolutely love it. So let's talk about sustaining these relationships now. Like, okay, so we're going to segue onto that. But this was a very good detour, and I understand why we needed to talk about it, because somebody has been delivered with what you just said. They literally got a reset, mind shift. So let's talk about sustaining relationships, because I personally, I feel this is where I struggle. So I'm here at your feet, just like, oh master, teach me. Because you just do it, and someone introduces you to this person, and that's it. I just going back for people, like, so for some people it's natural. I have people like I know in my family, it's very natural for them. They can't, but we met this person like 2 years ago, and it's been my circle now, we've been talking. We're there for this thing, and we've talked and we've passed. Well, how are you still connected to the person? So please deliver us. Thank you.
Okay, so the first thing is to thyself be true. To thyself be true. The second thing is, what do you want? What do you want? For me as a person, I'm not somebody who, it's funny, I love networking, I teach networking, but I like things in small doses. I'm not trying to be everybody's friend, and the way in which I'm able to mitigate that is I love social media. Because social media, and that's one of the reasons why I said I had to sort of come out, because I know that I still like my circle very small. I still like my circle very small. I'm extremely busy, so I'm not the best at every day. I'm not trying to have conversations. There's nobody I talk to every day in this life. Maybe just God. There's nobody, I'm not that person. I'm the person that I can call you once in 6 months to have a conversation. It's great, and hasta la vista to the next 6 months or to the next 1 year, right? That's my kind of person, right? But what I do is I understand social media. So for example, and these are the subtleties that people miss. So in terms of sustaining relationship, number one, leverage social media. For every like you put on somebody's page or every engagement, I'll just come to and give us, see your hair, so fine. Guess what? I've deposited something in your relationship bank.
I love it. I love it.
It is less than 30 seconds. What has happened is that I've acknowledged you. I have added value to you because I've made you smile, I've made you happy, right? And what that does is that it is deposited in your relationship bank. So that if I need to come back in 6 months' time to have a proper conversation, it doesn't feel like I've been away for 6 months. So leverage social media to your advantage. It's such a powerful tool. Even if you're not posting every day, people that post, people that are in your circle, right? Try to like their posts, engage with them. Remember, humans are emotional beings. Every human being likes to feel seen, heard, and valued. Because when people
Mm.
post things on social media, they're also worried like, will people like my contents? Oh my god. No matter who they are, CEO, CFO, president, everybody goes through that
President.
mindset. Everybody is going to worry and say, oh my goodness, is my I was talking to somebody today. He has 10 million subscribers on YouTube. 10
10
million
million.
people. Yes. And he still says that he still goes on to, there's sometimes when he posts, he's looking like, okay, what people saying, what people not saying. So he never ends because human beings are emotional beings. So one way to connect people is validate the fact that you are okay, you're enough. It helps them. It's a great way to stay in touch. That's number one. Number two, to be more intentional about it, ask yourself, and this is where in networking, we call it the layers of networking. Your personal network, your operational network, and your strategic network. Your personal network are your friends, like your paddies, your inner circle. You should try and connect with them more than often. So, for my personal networks, I try to block my calendar. Saturdays are my off days. I try to connect with people. And because I find calls very draining, if I'm trying to talk to 10 people at the same time, I would just send messages, voice notes, and then maybe two out of those people have conversations. And I've locked it. Okay, we had this conversation for this month, till next month. I mean, it doesn't always have to be that
Wow.
way, but most times, right? So in my inner circle, I'm a lot more intentional because if you do not make out time for them, time would pass. That's one. For my operational networks are your colleagues, your vendors, your suppliers, people that you sort of have a work relationship with, right? What I do with those people to sustain the network, I have everybody's birthdays. At least my calendar is filled with people's birthdays. I must send, even if I say happy birthday, it means I've talked to you once a year. So I send people happy birthday. I
Hmm.
send people Merry Christmas, Merry whatever celebration it is. I send it out to people. It's a way to sort of keep in touch, right? I don't
Hmm.
have to have deep conversations, but it's just a way to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. And to the best of my ability, I try to personalize the messages. So I can lock one day, 24 hours. All I'm doing is instead of just say, dear friend, no, I'll personalize it. Dear Adebisi, dear Chukuka, dear, people like to again feel seen, heard, and
Yes.
valued,
I'm valued.
right? So I do that and it helps, it gives me, so think of networking as a bank. For all of those things I'm doing, I'm adding credit to my bank account with them. So that
Hmm.
at the right time, when I need to, if I need to have conversations with them, it's not like, oh my goodness, where's she coming from?
Hmm.
She's not spoken to me in 10 years and she's just come to ask me or she's just come to try to talk to me. So there's that. So I would say be intentional. Also understand, audit your network, categorize people into where you think they belong, and prioritize people that way. For your strategic networks, I would say the best way to connect with them is Instagram, LinkedIn,
What is the
podcasts.
strategic? What are the people? Which people are in the strategic
So your
bucket?
strategic networks are people that mm, you feel like by associations with them, they can help you achieve your goals, or you can learn
Hmm.
from them, you can rub minds, you like their mindset. You don't have to be friends. And I keep telling people that the reason people get heartbroken with friendships is because you're putting people where they are not. You're going to tell your colleague all your life secrets. And if the colleague is very ambitious and very, if the person has no values, they can throw you under the bus to get to where they want to. And then you say, oh, people are bad. People are not bad. You didn't just categorize people well. So you need to understand where people play in your life, right? And the things that people can always move. So I've had people that were my strategic networks that have become my best friends today, right? And I allow things to build organically. I keep saying that give things time, right? Give
Hmm.
things time. Do your intentionalities and all of that, but also just observe. There's some people that the more, so for example, after this podcast, I see me and you connecting even more on a deeper level
Hmm.
because we've
Yeah.
had this
The
conversation
vibe.
and
Yeah. Hmm.
they love,
Hmm.
but I didn't try to force it. I'm not going to, I never
Hmm.
force things. And that's why I said that for me, it's also that piece of frequency of just taking things slowly, understanding that I move at
Hmm.
my pace. Every pace I move at is the right pace. Even my mistakes would be a message at the end of the day. So I'm not even trying to force things. I'm not trying to, no, I just take things. I'm at the right time, at the right place, and I work with that mentality and understanding, and it helps me in networking. So I'm not under any pressure. I'm not under any hurry. You know, and it works for me. And I've for people that have, you know, worked with me, it's the same thing. Don't rush things. Life has a process. Trust the process
Yeah,
and go
yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Karika, is this how you are? Is this how you come and you you blow up someone's podcast? Is this what you do? What's all this fire? My God. Did you hear yourself? You said any move I make, even my mistakes. Do you know you have to be a general to say that kind of statement? Even my mistakes is still working out for me.
It is. I
Man,
truly believe
love
it.
it. I love it. I live for that kind of stuff. Absolutely love it. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I have learned so much personally from this conversation that I'm just like, oh my goodness. So as we bring it to a close,
Mm.
I want to speak to you about tribe building because I believe that that is you, you know, and how important is it for people to start having that mindset, like, you know what, building tribes, investing, and what can a tribe be to you over
Okay.
time?
Fantastic. So I tell people that you cannot rise beyond two things. One, a level of understanding. Two, the people around you.
Mm,
Remember I told you that I had a call before this call where
mhm,
I said goals and I thought my goals were great. And
mm,
the person I talked to said, what's this? And tore it apart and gave 10 exits,
mm,
right? If
mm,
I didn't have that person in my circle, I'll be operating from a place of mediocrity, even though in my mind is great. And even though to people around me, you know, it might be great too. But the people in your circle affect your frequency. The
mhm,
people, you know, when they say your association, your network is your network. So the people around you, if they are mediocres, I promise you that even if you're the best of the best, you just be the best mediocre amongst them.
mm,
So it's very important the people around you. That's one. So I just want to establish that first. The next thing is, again, to thyself be true. You have different tribes for different things, right? And people also need to understand that one person cannot be everything to you.
mm,
And that's why I say diversify your tribes. So I have tribes of people that, you know, I'm in a YouTube group. All of us there are trying to do big things on YouTube. My friends in my normal life don't really care about YouTube as much. So, and that's why I said, understand where people play. Trying to make my personal network, my YouTube community, I would frustrate the friendship because they don't really care about that.
mm,
It's not in line with what they're trying to do. So I find a tribe for that. That when we are there, we talk about YouTube, we talk about all the things we want to do. And for some people, maybe one or two out of the people, we might become great friends. For the rest of
mhm,
people,
mhm,
we're just
mhm,
a tribe. So it depends on
mm,
what you want. I also have a tribe that I pour my heart to. For example, there's some things I needed to do this week, and my tribe, two people in my tribe, they gave me instructions, clear instructions. Call this person at this time, pray at this time. Those people they see my heart, they understand, you know, I open up my heart to them. In fact, because of how close we are, there's some instructions that come
through
to
them.
them, you know,
Mhm,
through them for me, right? That's another level of tribe. I have a tribe of we just have money goals we're trying to meet. And that's what we're there for. We keep each other accountable. I have a friend who, you know, she's just like Karika. I'm not trying to be a millionaire like you. I'm good. I just want to do have my three children. I'm not even trying to, I'm not trying to work. And that's who she is. And I respect her for that. And we're still very good friends. But when I'm trying to hit $1 million, she's not the person I'm going to go to because
mm,
she's not going to understand. She's going to be like, why are you disturbing yourself? So it's number one, understand to thyself be true. Number two, understand what do I want out of my life and what people that can help me. And then
mm,
find them. You know, find
mm,
them. I like, you know, powerful, prayerful circles. I have that circle. I have
mm,
people who were trying to establish our brands on YouTube. I have a circle for that. I have people who are trying to just break glass ceilings. I have a network for that, right? And I also try to not spread myself thin. You know, I have per time, per season. And that's why I said that one of the key things in networking is understanding times and seasons. And people seem to understand that in networking, rejection is redirection. Rejection
mm,
is redirection. Let me give you a quick story. Somebody that I wanted to connect with over 9 years ago, you know, my spirit was just like, Karika, hold on. And I just freed. I met her 5 years later. I was at an event, I said something, and she's like, "Oh my god, I need your number." Collected her number, and she's been so powerful, instrumental in opening doors for me. But somebody that knows her, I was like, oh my goodness, this lady is now your good friend. That if you had met her 5 years ago, she was snobbish, she wasn't a great person, and all of that. And even she told me that 5 years ago she was going through a lot of internal commotion, that God had to work on her to become this person. So God just saved me. And that's why I said that everything, I'm at the right place at the right time. Because God is like, see, if you meet this person, she will scatter your head with all her plenty wahala. So don't worry,
Mm,
when I worked on her, you meet her in the future. And you will be great. And that's
mm,
exactly what happened. So,
mm,
but if you take rejection personally, you would never really harness the fact that there are other 7 billion people that you can connect with, and they have other things to add to you. So yeah, these are the things. So tribe building is very important. You are human, you can't do everything by yourself. You need even if you are the best of the best, you need people who can encourage you. And in selecting your tribe, if you're Christian, select it from a place of prayer, because
mm,
who you allow into your life is it's so dangerous. Who you allow into
mm,
your life affects your mindset, affects
mm,
your frequency, affect your outlook towards life, affect your vision, affects how you see things. So if you allow someone who will speak negative or bring energies that you are in for something else, I would say prayerfully ask yourself that and allow God lead you. Again, my own, I don't force things. There's the person I just had a meeting with, right? I was like, God, I need to meet someone who will help me with this. And I just left it open. One morning I woke up at 9 a.m. And usually I don't pick up my phone first. And I woke up very late. So it was very unusual. So I picked up my phone. My phone was beside me. I looked at it and I found out that, the person had put up like an ad for something. And I reached out to the person. I said, hey, I've been following you. I see what you do. I want to come on board. And that's it. And after that, that thing closed. So I asked myself, why did I wake up at that time? Because if I had woken up at 6 o'clock or 5 a.m. my normal time, I would not be with my phone at 9 o'clock. So again, that's why I said I do not force things. I say what I want. I try to put out logical steps, but I do not overly force over them, because again, I operate from the place of the spirit, and I know that my life is frequency. So
mm.
it's how I move, it's how I operate, and it has worked for me so far.
Agendaless. It's like that salient. You don't come into things with that pre-engineered mindset. You almost you flow knowing that at the base of you, all things are working together for you. So you just kind of go into situations
Mhm.
with fluidity. Just I love it. See how I'm summarizing your life. I love it. Karika, this has been a mind shifting 47 or 45 minutes thereabouts. So I just want to ask you, where can my people find you? Because I'm sure that everyone's like, please, where can I? I love her vibe. I need her. And what do you offer that they can perhaps take advantage of now that now that they've been
Mhm.
woke to this whole networking? Are
Mhm.
you kidding me? What do you offer?
Mhm. Okay, fantastic. So you can find me on Instagram at karika.republic is where I respond to people the most.
Mm,
Just slide into my DM. Um, I try to respond within at least 48 hours.
mm,
Because I go through messages on Instagram. So at karika.republic. And then you can also find me on YouTube, Karika Republic on YouTube, right? Either of those two
mm.
places, I'm happy to, to
Indeed.
connect. And then in terms of what I offer master classes. So I have one coming up in April,
Mhm,
May, and the master classes just to encourage people. First of all, you work on your confidence, because if you're not confident, you're not going to be able to network, right? So your confidence, your mindset, steps to network. Again, I believe in show, not tell. So you're going to be doing
mm,
the work, because the vision gets clearer in the doing.
mm,
And then I also have one-on-one networking sessions, right? And my
mm,
clients have gone on to do big things. I have a client who's producing a movie, who is releasing a movie on the 25th of March, and the movie is as a result of networking. Just having
mm,
the courage to go up to someone and say, "Hey, this is my value proposition. This is what I want to do," and has led to a movie. She released one last year, and no, 2 years ago, and it sold out. Like, she broke box office and all of that, and she's doing it again. And this is someone who's an introvert, who was she just never used to talk. and she's going to become this powerful movie producer, signing deals in Netflix and all of that. So yes, I have one-on-one programs, and I also have master classes. I have the next one coming up in April. But yes, connect with me on Karika.Republic on Instagram or Karika Republic on YouTube. Always happy to connect and have conversations.
Fantastic. I will link everything in our show notes, guys. So you want to get in on that ASAP. ASAP. Thank you so much, Karika, for being here. We have felt your light, we have experienced you, and we are better for it. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.